Hey everyone! So this week we're talking about reflecting Jesus through our worship.
Speaking of reflecting, have you guys reflected on the Blackhawks? We had a bit of a rough season, but I think we could still make the playoffs.
I mean, I like the Blackhawks, but you really like them.
Well, yeah, I'm their greatest fan. I know all of the players and I watch all of the games. Sometimes I think I know them better than they know themselves. Sometimes I scream at the TV, and if they just hired me to be their coach, we would never lose a game.
You seem really invested in the Blackhawks, Chaz.
Well, yeah. What's not to love? The games are exciting, and there's such an awesome community around them, and I love talking about them. I have almost every jersey they have ever made.
Aren't those jerseys kind of expensive?
Nah, I know a guy.
Chaz, can I ask you a hard question?
I doubt it'll be hard for me. I know everything there is to know about the Hawks. You know, that's what most of their fans call them.
Chaz, why do you worship the Blackhawks?
Worship? No, man, no. I am a Christian. I only worship God.
Well, Chaz, if you show me where you spend your time, money, and effort, I can show you what you worship. So, where do you spend the most time, money, and effort? On the Blackhawks or on God?
Well, that's kind of difficult to say. I helped that one time in kids ministry, so that counts for a lot. They always need more volunteers.
Yes, the kids ministry always needs volunteers. But that was 4 years ago. Other than just going to service, are you serving anywhere?
Well, not really.
Are you worshiping God with your finances?
Well, I gave money to a homeless guy before.
But are you supporting your local body of Christ?
No.
Well, it sounds like we know where your time, money, and effort are being spent. And it's not the thing that you say you worship. Worship is unique as a human being, made in God's image. We are made to worship. Worship is where we devote our time, money, and effort to find fulfillment.
Are you saying that I'm trying to find fulfillment in the Blackhawks?
The thing is that's normal, to look for fulfillment in other things. Some people do it in sports teams, some do it in their careers, and others even try to do it through their children. It's like I said before, we are made to worship. But if we seek that fulfillment in anything other than God, it will always fall short. Like with the Blackhawks. Being a super fan, you feel really proud, like you're a part of something when they win, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, what about when they lose?
Oh, no, not really.
That is why God is the only thing that's worthy to be worshipped. Because he can never fail. He can never change. He defined that we are a part of something bigger than ourselves when he united us as a church, as the body of Christ. He established our value by making us in his image, and he calls us in unique ways because he wants to be in relationship with us.
Isn't it kind of like what we talked about before? That God transforms us when we reflect him? He transforms us to look like Christ, right?
Exactly, Boomer. So when we are worshiping the one who is worthy of being worshiped, we find that fulfillment when we worship him with our time, by devoting time to spending communion with our Creator, with our money, by knowing that what we have is actually not our own, but we are just stewards of it, and we worship God with the money that we have. And finally, with our efforts, by serving the body of Christ in our welcome team, our worship team, in the student ministry, or in the kids ministry.
You're right, Joe. It's one thing to be a fan, but I need to point my worship where it belongs.
And when you do it, your life will be transformed. When Moses spent time in the very presence of God, his skin radiated the glory of God. So much so that the people asked him to put a veil over his face so they weren't blinded by the light. When we have our worship in the right place, when we have our worship in God and God alone, we show God's glory unhindered for all to see. 2 Corinthians 3:18 says this: "So all of us who have had that veil removed can see and reflect the glory of God. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like Him as we are changed into His glorious image." So we worship God in all of the areas that we talked about. We can be transformed to show His glory.
Starting today, only God will receive my worship. Thank you, Joe.
Well, that's all the time we got for today. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.